aan. Mense nog starting.
Myne is starting. Start even.
Hey guys, welcome everyone. Welcome to the business show.
Hello, Sonia, George, Elizabeth. Hi guys, welcome.
Welcome everyone that's joining us for another episode of the Ask Willie and Eugene Business Show. So, a few guys joining from Cape Town. Our guest today is also from Cape Town. So he's in your neck of the woods. Welcome to the business show, and we are off to get started. So as you guys jump on, just comment. If you haven't been here before, just pop in the comments. I know most of the guys are part of our mastermind group, so welcome guys. Hopefully we can provide another awesome show for you guys today. So for those that don't know us, I'm Eugene and this is my business partner, Willie. And we are from Entrepreneur HQ. So Willie, I think maybe just take it through who is Entrepreneur HQ for the guys that don't know. And then we can jump into our giant for today.
Yes, guys, thanks so much for joining us on the show today. It's great to have to be able to give you guys this value. For everyone that's not been on the show, so who's Entrepreneur HQ? Myself is Willie, Eugene. Both of us met a couple of years ago whilst working on a project, and we started talking about entrepreneurship and just really our passion for the online world and entrepreneurship and business coaching brought us together, and that's when we decided to start EHQ. So we've got EHQ Learn, where we teach guys how to take their businesses online. We teach them about mindset, digital marketing, and then we've also got a division where we actually build these systems for clients, and we help them to generate leads. And then also we've got our own set of online stores and online businesses. So that's kind of who we are, and really we're just here to give you value. That's the purpose of the show. So yeah, Eugene.
Yeah, definitely just value to everyone, and just help everyone wherever you guys are struggling. We know someone. So out of the other businesses that myself and Willie have, a lot of our clients are from the corporate industry. So we've got quite a lot of connections and contacts in the corporate industry. And through that, we pull in a lot of those guys to give value and just tell their story and inspire and motivate everyone. And then also, where can we learn from them? So they say the biggest chance of becoming a millionaire is to hang out with billionaires, because you pick up a different way of doing stuff, a different way of thinking, a different way of talking. So just having those guys on, we can learn from them, and we keep connecting with these high-level individuals, guys who's really made a success in their businesses, or that we can learn from in a particular sector. And if we constantly surround ourselves with these type of people and this type of information, the way they think, we go through that process, and each week we lift our what they call your level of consciousness. So your level of consciousness becomes our collective consciousness. You become the average of the people that you spend your time with. So if each week you spend your time on here, each week you get exposed to different people, guys in different industries, and really years that's made an impact, and it's made a difference, and that's made a success out of their businesses. And if you keep surrounding yourself with those people, and you keep hearing from them, and you keep connecting to them, it changes the way you think. So the guys that's really going to benefit from this is the guys that, like Sonia and George and Mark and all the guys that pitch up every week. It really lifts your level of consciousness, and you start thinking and acting in a different way, and you start taking actions in a different way. So that's the key about this, is connecting with the type of people that you would normally not get the chance to connect with. And then we just brainstorm and ask them questions and ask them all the tricky stuff that can help us in our businesses and that can help you in your business.
Yeah, and I think what's important, Eugene, is to understand that we can learn. We've got a certain skill set, but each of us in this community actually has something to give to the other guys, and that's really where it is. And we speak about it quite a lot, often, where we say entrepreneurship is quite a lonely journey, and I think Rich is going to also share that with us. And then as soon as you get to this, we call it the tribe. That's where we really feel loved, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not loved at home, but I mean, it's a different kind of love, you know. It's like you can go there, you can speak to guys, share your problems, and everyone can relate to them. And yeah, it's super powerful. I think that's really we've got a lot of offerings and we teach a lot of guys things, but I think the power of our tribe is this unity that we've got as entrepreneurs to come together and actually help each other. And yeah, like you say, that collective consciousness, I used little bit by little just lift your game, eh?
Yeah. And small changes over a long period of time makes a massive impact.
Massive difference.
So they say it's hard to beat someone that never stops. And that's exactly what it is. It's having this community of support. Who else do you talk to? I mean, really, who else is there to talk to? Who's going to understand your struggles and the fears that you have? Who else can you talk to about that? And who's going to uplift you from a positive perspective and support you? And I think that's a part of our mastermind group, really, is just the support and the love and the encouragement and knowing that there's other people out there that's also struggling and someone else that's also going up and down and going through the dips. So, not a marriage proposal.
No marriage proposals.
In your tagline. It's really
Cool.
Yeah.
So maybe chat to us a bit about our sponsors.
Yeah. So just want to say thanks to the guys that sponsors the show. Like you guys know, it takes a lot of effort and money and advertising and that to keep the show running. It's not, it comes out of our own pockets, and the only way we can scale it is by getting sponsors involved and getting guys on to support the show and that can help us grow the show. So our mastermind, firstly, really awesome. Thanks for always pitching up. I see George and Sonia and all the other guys that's part of the mastermind group. So I can't scroll down now. Just for the support, and without the support, we can't keep the show going. We can't keep the show going and running. So I want to say thanks to eBiz Radio. We've partnered with eBiz Radio, 24-hour business radio station. So getting a lot of publicity and support from eBiz Radio. And then last week's sponsor was Gullis Heights. Mike won the prize for a weekend away at Gullis Heights. So congratulations, Mike, for winning that prize. And then if anyone else wants to jump on board, if you've got something to offer, we're always open to giving value to our viewers. So something that will give value to our viewers. So just really thanks to all the sponsors and all the support from our tribe and from our network and from everyone in our mastermind group. Thanks, guys.
Super. Thanks, guys. So, guys, we've been talking about this competition that we've got the guys as part of our mastermind to enter in. We've got quite a lot of entries in there, so we're busy working through them. By tomorrow morning, in our WhatsApp group, we will be announcing the 5 finalists. Yeah, super excited. So just in a nutshell, for everyone that's part of the mastermind that's not registered yet, after the show, we will share a link to for you guys. Please go enter there, and then basically how the competition is going to work. We're going to work with one of or the winner, and we're going to go through a 12-month process where we will be coaching, assisting in building, and giving consultations in order for you to 2 or 3x your business. So yeah, super excited. We will be announcing that tomorrow. There's no more delays. If you haven't entered after the show, we will give you that link. Super.
We're going to say in our mastermind group, guys. So in our WhatsApp group, if you're not part of our mastermind group yet, why not? Seriously. We'll share a link at the end of the show where you can join our mastermind. $750 once-off fee. I mean, super cheap. I don't think there's anything else in South Africa that offers this value for $750.
You can't even buy a carton cigarettes for the $750.
Yeah. So if you haven't joined our mastermind yet, it's $750 once off, and you get a lifetime access to our mastermind. You get access to all our courses, our digital marketing courses, our e-commerce courses, all that sort of stuff. Once off fee $750, we'll give you guys the chance at the end of the show for the guys that's not part yet to join our mastermind. Tomorrow morning, we are announcing the 5 finalists in our mastermind group. And then, please, guys, if you haven't submitted your application, this is the last day. Tomorrow morning, we are doing the 5 finalists. So if you're submission hasn't come through. Sorry. And our goal is going to be to 2 or 3x your business. So we're going to take a business and we're going to show that coaching really has a benefit. The cost of coaching is really probably about average coach 30 to 40,000 per year. 30 to 40,000, you can really make a big impact in your business, and to generate an additional 30,000 rand to pay back the coaching. So we want to prove that coaching does work, and having the right coaches, what impact it can do in your business. So if you're doing a 1 million or 2 million rand business, to take it to 4 million with instead of a 10% net to a 20% net, it makes a massive, massive impact in your business. So that's our goal. That's what we are going to do. And we know we can do it. We can double or triple a business in the space of 12 months by having proper coaches in place. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. Go click, subscribe and register for our competition. So it's only available to the guys in our Mastermind group. So if you're not part of the Mastermind, why not?
Cool. I think, Eugene, without further ado, introduce today's giant.
So I'm going to just message him that we are ready for him. So today's giant is Richard Finnis. So I know him as Rich. Rich is a really close friend of mine. I met him through David. David, that was from my ebook that was on one of our previous business shows. It's a friend. They actually worked together. And then myself and Richard met through him and became really close friends. I'm a bit jealous about his business. You know that thing you talk about, we have the freedom and the time and the money and everything, and we never get it. He's got it. So Rich is going to join us now, and we're going to talk a bit about his story and where he is. And one of the things that Rich has done as well is moved down to Cape Town just before lockdown, luckily. Hey, Rich.
Hey,
Welcome, Rich.
How you boykies doing?
Lekker, you must speak like a Cape Townian now, eh?
For sure. Fully, bro, fully.
Hey, thanks for joining our show today. So we've got a whole bunch of viewers. Most of the guys are part of our Mastermind group. And each week we just give value by interviewing someone that's achieved above average success in their business. That's not a one-man show sort of business. They've done something different to everyone else.
Above average. Wow, Eugene, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, a bit jealous about Rich as well. Like I said, moved down to Cape Town and living the entrepreneur life. Yeah, before we get started, Rich, just maybe introduce yourself and introduce your business.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, thanks, guys, for inviting me onto the platform. This is quite cool. I'm enjoying what you guys are doing with the Entrepreneur HQ. Who am I? I mean, I'm Richard Finnis. I have a business called R Fiber Solutions, and it is it's a semiconductor supply chain. So what we do is we distribute semiconductors that are predominantly used in our aerospace and defense sectors. So if I had to explain it in layman's terms, we sell components that our customers will be integrating and building in various radars, various communication radios, various electronic warfare receivers for electronic countermeasures, direction finding systems, or everything that is required to have full control and command capability in a battlefield. So I started off as an engineer, first and foremost, which is beautiful, but also very detrimental. but yeah, so from that, yeah, we've established the business. It's quite, without patting myself on the shoulder, we've done quite well in the last 6 years, and we've definitely landed a couple of nice opportunities as this small medium enterprise has grown.
Yeah, no, you've like a really good success in the turnover you guys are doing. I mean, it's moved up from a small business to a medium-sized business. I think it's only 7%. There's about 200,000 registered businesses in South Africa, and I think only 7% of those businesses are over 10 million turnover. So once a business goes over 10 million turnover per annum, then you move up into like the top 10% of businesses in South Africa. So it's only,
we're definitely there.
So it's we're definitely moving up to the medium space in business. And you work half the time that I do.
And he sleeps late.
I do, but I work also at very weird hours because I also work when America is online, and when America's online, sometimes you guys are having your afternoon drinks, and I'm busy working, or your evening drinks. You're having wine with the missus or something, and I'm actually busy working. So my hours are weird.
Keep it clean, man. Come on.
So tell me, Rich, I have a question for you. So every week we interview these giants, and we're really curious to know. Well, all of them's really got this story about how they became an entrepreneur, and there's quite interesting stories out there. So could you maybe tell us a bit more about your journey as to how you actually got to become an entrepreneur?
Really, of course I will. Although I think that you use the term entrepreneur very loosely on me. As I said, I actually come from a staunch engineering background, having half a qualification in civil engineering and have full qualification in electronic engineering, RF and microwave, a qualification in sales and marketing. And for the majority of my career, I was involved in, I was working at companies like Saab, Grintech Defense, for example. So most of my time, I was busy tackling a lot of problems that, I was in the problem-solving mindset, and I always managed to somehow see problems where they aren't. Okay.
You're an engineer.
I'm an engineer. If you read that Dilbert comic script, it's perfect. It sums up an engineer's life perfectly. So about 6 years ago, I got to a point in the engineering field where I wanted to challenge myself to do something different. It turned out that I was relatively okay at selling. I wouldn't say I could sell ice to an Eskimo, but it turns out that when you know what you're talking about, you can sell content. And I moved over into the sales and marketing side. And in an ironic twist, all the companies, or the company I worked for, became my customer. And I worked in the distribution chain for about 8 years. And once I got to a certain point in my life, there was a hunger. I knew that I wanted more. There was more to it. There was more to life. And that was when the engineering brain kicked in, and I had these hurdles that were self-inflicted or self-imposed hurdles in my head. And only then I had, so I'm one half of the R Fiber Solutions. The other business partner, Andy, he's the one who's quite a creative thinker. He was the one, he saw I was on the edge of the cliff. He was the one that just stood behind me and just pushed me off. And that was it. Once I had fallen off the cliff, there was no going back. That was my fall into entrepreneurship.
Wow, what a story.
So it wasn't always just sunshine and rainbows, and it was, I know some of your stories, and it was tough, and you had to start off, and there were a few tough months, but it's fairly safe to say that you're living a life that most entrepreneurs try and get to, just without making them too jealous. Just tell a bit about your life and how the business operates now. I know you moved down to Cape Town. Just tell us a bit more about it.
It's relatively simple. I can work from a satellite office anywhere, and a lot of my work is done behind the laptop now. Obviously, COVID-19 has affected some things. Within my space, it certainly comes down to having interpersonal relationships with my clients. So I do miss the personal one-on-one aspect and meetings with the engineers. But my day-to-day, if I had to sum up my day-to-day, I wake up, and when I wake up, that's sort of when I'm at my peak. Like that's when, as a male is like the testosterone is pumping, and you're like driven, and you just like, you want to tackle the day. So I get a lot of my work done in the morning, early morning. And after I've achieved a couple of the tasks I need to do, i.e. importing emails or just finalizing certain, administrative tasks, I'll either go and I'll visit some customers. It hasn't been like that as of recent. And then I spend a bit of time where I stop and I smell the roses. Life is an adventure. Life is supposed to be an adventure. So for me right now, I'll take a drive out to Muizenberg. I'll slap on a wetty, I'll grab a board and I'll go hit the surf a couple of hours. Or I'll go and I'll, let's do a 21-kilometer hike over the mountain. Why not? If not, why not? That's what is my day now.
In the rest of us.
But that being said, don't let it detract from the fact that there is still there's moments where there's lots of hard work. When there's fires to be put out, that's when the pressure points are there. That's when you learn to grow.
Yeah. So it's quite it's really something that a lot of entrepreneurs aspire to. But I think you've mentioned you guys started 6 years ago. So the thing is, it's not always been that rosy. So tell us a bit more about the challenges that you've had, whether it's cash flow, marketing, whatever, over the
personal
over the past couple of 6 years that you had to work through to actually get to this point where you're currently at.
No, absolutely, guys. So I think it's safe to say that once you've embarked on this entrepreneurial life, it is what it is. It's a life. It's not a job. Jobs are easy to micromanage because you have a certain set of responsibilities and you can sort of like put them down when you get home. Where as an entrepreneur, since you are essentially the business, or you are such a huge role in the business, your personal life can have effects on your business life, or at least in my case, it has. So in my journey or my challenges to get here, I've had to assess certain things within myself when it came to substance abuse and partying and letting success get to your head, because success is power and power is a trip, and it's a roller coaster that you have to start maturely looking at. I've been threatened to take into court. I've had my 2 previous companies want to take me personally to court. They wanted to take my business to court for millions because of various things or allegations that they pretty much because of gripes they had against me as an individual on my personal capacity. We've gone through months. We're actually going through a month right now where we are going through some cash flow issues. It's very, very tight. COVID-19 put the logistics behind by 30 days, and now all the customers we've paid suppliers, and suppliers are needing more payments, and our customers are delayed by a month because of it. So it's been tough. Those are the stressful things that come with it. So even though don't let my full head of hair fool you. I not pull it out. But it definitely has been a journey of introspection. There's been a lot of personal stuff I've had to get to where I am as an entrepreneur, and they sort of go part and parcel. Your personal life and what I do isn't. This is what I do. My job and my company it's part of me. I don't look at it as though it is work and play. It is all part of me as my persona. So it has to be the balance of the personal challenges and the professional challenges.
Definitely, entrepreneurship. A lot of people think that entrepreneurship is a way of life. It's a way of everything. The way you spend your time, the people you spend your time with, the way you wake up, some of your success habits that you have, things that bump you up when you are down, because we are on an entrepreneur roller coaster. So talking about that, would you ever go back to full-time employment?
I guess that's a no.
I did Jimmy Carr in the house. I didn't know it was comedy hour. No,
But
that's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
that's very stressful, and there's additional challenges and stuff. But once you get onto the roller coaster, you can't get off.
You can't get off. Once your time truly becomes your own, you can never. It never sits well in your soul to give your time to someone else again. Once your time is your own, you can't give it away again.
Yeah.
And I think I can relate to that. I spoke to a friend in Australia earlier this week. So we're talking about the economy and everything in general. And he asks me, why don't you just go overseas? I said, where to? He says, like Australia. I said, but then I have to go work for a boss. I said, no, I don't think so.
Exactly. I know.
Once you go on the journey, you'll earn less, work harder, whatever it takes, without having to go back. So I was talking a bit about some of the success habits, and we're on this entrepreneur roller coaster that goes up and down, and everyone's got this emotional state. And you also mentioned that your business is a reflection of you. So if you're going through a bad time, the business is experience the same sort of roller coaster. What's some of the stuff that you do when you go down to get yourself back up again?
I start to look back at the basics actually. So when we're in the trough of the roller coaster, I tend to revert back to basics, and for some people it might be different. For me, I use a bit of religion and a bit of spirituality, and it's sort of like a mishmash. So I do have elements of faith that get me through it, and then there's also elements of just discipline and keeping your mind and your soul and your body healthy. So there's things like boot camp and the hiking and just keeping physically active, keeping the heart going, keeping the endorphins up. That's imperative. Keeping the mind healthy, reading, subscribing to various periodicals that pique your interest. I'm a sucker when it comes to tech savvy stuff, and I'm a sucker when it comes to war, and I'm a sucker when it comes to politics. Don't ask me why politics is in there, but it just is. Okay. And then on the spiritual side, it's always good to just get back to balance and get back to even though you're on this roller coaster and maybe you're going through a very tough time, you're still in a better position than most. So it's just about getting back to being humble. Once you can see the world for what it is and be humble and humble yourself, then you'll find that it actually generally isn't as bad as you think it is.
There's a saying that I saw the other day that really resonated with me is, don't forget, because it's this thing where we always want more and we always want to achieve more, and that's part of being entrepreneurs, that hunger to achieve. And at certain points, we get to a point where things don't really work out the way we want, and we go down in a dip. And the saying said, don't forget, the life you have now is the life that you once dreamt about. And just like you're saying, being humble and coming back to the present moment and just reflecting on what you have. Is it really that bad? No, it's actually pretty good.
We have it pretty good. I mean, I think it's safe to say that every single one of us that are currently watching this or present in this little webinar are probably more blessed than they know type of situation. So it's always good to keep that as the baseline and appreciate what you've got.
Yep. There's so many people that's struggling all over the world there. I saw something where they said, where do you sit in the top half or the bottom half of the world? And if we look at our situation, we probably find ourselves in the top percentile of everyone in the world. And you always have to think back and remember, at your worst low, you're probably still so far away from being where a lot of people are actually living on a daily basis. So super cool. You mentioned that you're working best in the mornings. Do you actually have like a morning routine?
My morning routine is normally I'll get up and I'll either get some stretching in, and then I'll follow that by a good protein shake and some good nutrition, and then normally I'll follow that with a good cup of coffee, and then I'll hit the work. And it will just be for a couple of hours, while the brain is still revving quite nicely. So maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then normally I mosey on into the gym at around about 8 o'clock or so. I'm an early bird. I'll go to sleep at 10 o'clock and I'll wake up at 5 o'clock raring to go.
Yeah. I actually lived with Rich for a stage as well, so I can attest to that. I wake up in the morning still fuzzy, and he's sitting there working at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's like, dude. But then
ready for
is this any time to start working, Eugene? Any time to start working.
This pod comes 9 o'clock when I'm still busy working. He's like, no, I'm off pajama, I'll see you a bit later.
Cool. So I think I've got another question. If I can remember the question. I wanted to ask. So a lot of the times we speak about mentors and how you can, save yourself a lot of trouble by actually modeling after other entrepreneurs that's done things more successful than what you've done. What advice could you give? Maybe 3 pieces of advice to everyone that's on the show that's not yet reached this level. What advice can you give them to follow?
All right. Well, the first bit of advice was, or certainly would be, to definitely surround yourself with people that uplift you. It doesn't necessarily have to be uplifting in one aspect of life. It doesn't necessarily just have to be entrepreneurship. Surround yourself with people that are better than you in different aspects of their lives, so that you are always in a position where you are forced to learn and forced to grow to, meet their standards. Okay, yeah. So be it, and there it's about getting a healthy balance as well. Have some of your entrepreneurial friends and have some of your friends who are, wicked smart, like engineering friends, and have some very sporty people that can push you to the limits on that side. But put yourself in positions where you surround yourself with people that actually bring substance to your life. Okay, it's the first one. Second one is, never think that you are beyond learning something new. That's at the end of it, you always are going to be learning. You need to learn. That's it. You need to and prepare for the uncomfort that comes with it. Growth is uncomfortable. It's not a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
But once you start growing and you get into that uncomfortable and you transcend the uncomfortable zone, it's the best place to be. And the last bit of advice, and this is maybe more from, it more personally speaks to me, is get out of your head. Stop listening to any of the negative feedback loops that your cerebellum or whatever your abdominal oblongata is giving you. If you have any negative thoughts as to why something can't be done, just toss that thought out your head. You don't need to hear it. It doesn't need to be there.
Change your thoughts. Change your
there we go.
Your beliefs, and your beliefs becomes your actions, and your actions reinforces your thoughts. So by breaking the thoughts out, you bypass this whole cycle. You bypass this whole loop. And thoughts can bring you down. Yes.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that brings me down is when I'm not. At most times, I'm aware of the thoughts that goes through my head. At times, it creeps up on you. Like, hey, where did you come from?
Yeah, they are sneaky. They are sneaky little things, and they are there that I don't even know. It's your own growth, and you need to find something. When they start to sneak in, you need to cut that out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's other international or local entrepreneurs that you look up to? Do you have like someone specific and a reason for that?
I do have a couple of specific people, but they're not really. So they're pretty much the heads of industry in some of the semiconductor companies overseas, but pretty much in the aerospace and defense sector. And it's people like Frank Trout and Tim Emery, and these might be a little bit unknown because they don't fall within the mainline, like mainstream, Tony Robbins type of vibe. But it's people like that I've looked up to that have created sort of where I feel in or where I fit. Obviously the bunch of guys at Entrepreneur HQ. You guys have got you guys have listened to a lot of the stuff I put you through.
And it's important. So as you guys now run another higher level mastermind group, so Rich is actually part of my private mastermind group. And what do you think is the importance of having a network like that, or just a group of like-minded people?
Diversity in ideas, because everyone, even though everyone who's an entrepreneur should be a creative or a star or whatever they're calling it, okay, not everyone is like, take it from me, I'm more of a mechanic, if anything, and I think really yourself, you're also very procedurally based, and you, Eugene, are a bit of a star type of persona. And we all tackle problems differently, and you'll normally find the solution by sifting through various aspects and dimensions of these ideas.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing that really, really works well in Entrepreneur HQ, is the fact that it is a mishmash of all these different persona types that do add perspective. Because sometimes I hate to admit this, but hell, we like to think in the box. Sometimes we always think in our own little box and our own reality that we have with our own filter, and we need to just sometimes lift the visor.
Just get a bit of outside perspective. It's amazing what you can do to get advice from, or just get a different perspective from someone that's not so involved in the business. They don't see all the detail, and it's like, why don't you do that? It's like, huh? I don't know.
Well, I'll give you another little thing. Like, so I don't know if you know, Eugene. In fact, I haven't caught up with you as in depth as I should have. Yeah. I launched my second business about a week ago. So I've got now my company in South Africa, and I've got a company based in South Africa that's now brokering aerospace and defense electronics in the Middle East. That's where the money is going to be. So, and it was just
in the Middle East.
Because there was an opportunity, and my old self would have been like, oh no, like, how do I do this? Where here I was like, let's just do it.
Yeah. Action is a vital part of being an entrepreneur. The guys that's successful is the guys that start. If you never start, you never give yourself an option or opportunity to become successful. So the first part is start. And then last question, if any of the viewers have any questions for today, please just pop it in the comments. I've got one more question before we bounce off. Willie's got another question, and then we'll tell a bit more about the competition that we're running and give the guys that's not part of our mastermind group yet the opportunity to take part in that. So last question is, what is some of the things that's on your bucket list for the next couple of years?
So the bucket list, mine's a very, very interesting bucket list, because a lot of my bucket list is to do with travel. I definitely want to see more of the world, and I've got a couple of things I really want to do. Like, I want to go up Mount Makapicchu, and I want to even attempt Kilimanjaro in Africa. So a lot of that is on my bucket list. Learning to surf properly this year is on my bucket list. I want to become, I'm a Cape Townian now. I want to be like a fully surfer.
Does it mean because you've got the number plate, you're a proper Cape Townian?
You're right. I got 5 more years here, then I'll be a proper Cape.
Yes, they get your passport.
So yeah, then there's next year. On my bucket list next year is I want to land in New York, and I'm going to drive from New York on the Route 66 tour. I want to do that across America. Just because it's one of the things I want to do, and I want to stop over in Vegas. I want to have some whiskey with Brandon Flowers from the Killers. If I can get some of the Kiss band music in there, it'll be amazing.
Wow.
So we've got one question: is, are you a goal setter? Do you set goals and stuff for yourself?
Yes. So I do actually have on my mobile phone, I've got my notepad, and I've got a little to-do list. And the to-do list varies from little things that can be done immediately to things that are going to take a little bit of time. And I just, I try set through and crunch through those to-dos as quickly as possible. So it's the little things, sometimes the goal can be as little as making your bed in the morning.
Yeah. There's actually a guy, I can't remember who it was. What's that guy that's got the pull-up record currently? That seals and
no. David Goggins.
David Goggins. He also mentioned that doing small things like making your bed in the morning makes a massive difference to the way you think, having that first accomplishment of the day.
Absolutely. That's it. The first thing you should do every day is make your bed. First thing you've done.
Goal because you don't make your bed.
I do now. I do now.
But an interesting story, Eugene. So I read a coaching book, and they were talking about techniques and stuff, and how you advance yourself in life. And they said that the British cycling team, when it came to the Tour de France, they never featured anywhere. They actually got a coach, and he started coaching them. And all he did was, he said he's not going to try and change any of those guys' lives in one certain focus area massively. So they started doing little things like, for example, and we would think it's very stupid, but they changed the mattresses that they slept on. They asked them to go to bed 30 minutes earlier than what they normally would do. And they started doing these little small things, and it didn't even relate to training. And Struce Bob, these guys went out there and they actually won the Tour de France, and they've done so year after year after year, or they're one of the best competitors now. How interesting is that? And that's a great example.
Must be good publicity for Sealy Posturepedic.
Rich, cool. I just want to say thanks for joining the show and sharing your knowledge and being so open about everything in your journey, your struggles, because everyone struggles. That's the thing, is we think that these successful entrepreneurs just one day woke up and everything was sunshine and rosy. But everyone had struggles. Everyone had stuff that they had to overcome. And they had a journey. It's not a wake up and walk a certain path and be successful. It's a journey, and sometimes the journey isn't that good. So cool. Joining us.
You're welcome, guys.
Thanks very much. I've got a last question for Rich.
Sure, Willie.
How big is your travel bags for that trip to America? Would it fit someone that's weighing 108 kilograms?
It probably will. My bag is actually a big yellow one. It's called the Yellow Submarine. Eugene's seen it. It's massive.
Very cool. Thanks, Rich.
Show, and guys, I hope you got a lot of tips. I think some of the stuff that I take out of it is and that's some of the things that I actually wanted to go in a bit more in detail as well. Some of the sales tactics and just what do you think? But it's about building relationships, and that's something that I picked up from you, is having that real relationships, and that's what selling is about. It's offering value. Your potential customer's got a problem, you've got a solution to that problem. And understanding your customer better and building that relationship, you can provide a better solution than anyone else, which means you create this retaining customers. So that's something that really stood out for me in today's thing. And I think slowing down a bit. Sometimes you have to slow down to faster. Slowing down, smelling the roses, is something that I've been neglecting. I haven't smelled as many roses as I should.
You're not allowed to go out, Eugene. So
just having that is something that really stood out to me. So thanks for joining our show.
Thanks, Rich.
You guys are welcome. It was really awesome to share this. It was pretty cool, guys. And if you guys need me to ever come on and share some more knowledge, not that I'm very knowledgeable, but if you want a good couple of jokes, I'm glad to share.
Maybe we'll have one show. We'll call it the comedy show.
maybe.
Thanks, Rich.
Cool.
All right,
Thank
guys,
you, everyone. Just for all the members, thanks for joining. Remember, we're going to send that link so that you can subscribe to the competition. Last day. For everyone that's new on this side or this side, there's like an offer thing. You can join our community. This side. Anyway, guys.
Really cheap. Once off, and you join our community, you get all our shows on all our courses. So myself and Willie has built quite a few courses on digital marketing, e-commerce, Shopify, WordPress, landing pages, automation. I mean, just goes on and on. If you want to join on the right-hand side, just click on the link. and join our mastermind group and be part of everyone else that's in our mastermind group. So a lot of the guys are on there already. And then, as Willie said, last chance to join. So this is only for the guys in our mastermind group, is to apply for the competition. Tomorrow morning, we're announcing the 5 finalists that's going to go through. And we're still deciding on the last part, but we think we want the public to vote on it. So we're going to have a business show where we're going to show all the entries and then maybe get the public to vote on it. I think that would be a nice twist.
Yeah, I think that would be nice.
And something we can do as well is we can actually record a lot of the stuff that we do, really. And then we can show it on like the business show, like once a month or so, the progress and what we've done, and how other people and now the rest of our viewers can find value in that and seeing the stuff that they've done. Maybe apply it in your own business and have the same sort of results. Well, not the same results, because me and Willie isn't on your team, but who's on your team? Huh? That's something I learned from like Robert Kiyosaki and Zig Ziglar and those guys. So who's on your team? Do you have the right guys on your team? There's a good book, Jim Collins wrote a book called Good to Great. Having the right people on your team is critical for success in business. And it doesn't necessarily have to be full-time staff. As you guys heard from David from my ebook, Dave also has a fairly large business, but he's got maybe 2-3 people on his payroll. The rest of the guys are all subcontracting, and that's a new way of doing business. Is having specialists in certain areas come into your business for that short time period that you need them. So having a coach, having an accountant, having an attorney, having your IT specialist. So you have your CTO, your CFO, your CEO, etc., etc. So having those guys on your team and having those guys on board is critical for your business. Huh? Who's on your team? Don't write it down. Who's on your team? Where do you need to get the right people on your team to take your business up to the next level? So that's something I need to share at some point as well, is there's actually a strategy in scaling your business. So there's red, orange, yellow, green, etc., and it goes up. And there's actually strategies to move up from one level to another level. And we discuss it in the coaching, and we'll discuss it with our finalists that comes through the coaching. And but yeah, maybe that's something we should talk about on our next private mastermind call, Willie. I think it's next week, Wednesday.
Next week, I think next week, Wednesday, we'll be sending out the link to the live Zoom session.
Yeah, for our private mastermind. So that's only for the guys in our mastermind group, where we'll go through. And I think that can be one of the stages, is how do you move up from the one level of business to the next level of your business. Otherwise, awesome, guys. Thanks for joining the show. Mastermind yet, on the right hand side is the offer. Go join now, become part of our mastermind group, private group, really cool bunch of guys and girls and ladies and men and everyone else. So otherwise than that, thanks for joining the show, guys, and hope you found amazing value out of it. As always, thanks, Sonia. You're always on your big up, big supporter of EHQ, George, all the guys that's always on here, that's part of our mastermind group and stuff. And I can't wait to have a conference. I really, really want to have a conference.
Lockdown. It might be a virtual one for now, but cool, guys.
In Joburg, and then we can do a conference in Cape Town as well, because there's quite a lot of people in Cape Town. Nothing for Durban yet, but we'll see what we can do. Once we get enough people in Durban, then we can do that as well.
Thank you, guys. Quick lesson on how to do the fist punch thing.
Okay, so the normal fist bump is just that, but my son watched it Big Hero 6, so it's that pa-la-la-la. So there's a bit too girly. So now it's just like more logical with the boom. Papa, boom.
Cool, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for joining, and see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.